I'm Morgan Nelson, and when I was 19 years old, I tried to take my own life. I was completely broke, taking drugs every single day to wake up, to keep going, to go to sleep at night. I was getting into fights nearly every single weekend, getting arrested multiple times a month on drunken benders. And even though my teachers told me that I'd never amount to anything and I should never do anything in reading, writing, journalism, or speaking, I've now spoken on stages all around the world, crowds up to over 6,000 at a time. I've trained tens and tens and tens of thousands of leaders around the world to master their mindset and to create massive success in their business. I created financial freedom by 23, built a multi-million-dollar company in my 20s, and I've interviewed some of the most top entrepreneurs, well-respected business people on the planet. And I'm telling you all of this because I want to give you the lessons that changed my life, so that way it can also help you achieve your dream life. So believe it or not, I actually went all the way to grade 12, but there was only two reasons I did it, is because the parties and the girls. It was such an exciting time in my life. So I wanted to stay all the way to the end of year 12, despite the teachers telling me, actually, we're going to kick you out of the school and you're not allowed to graduate if you don't improve your grades. And when I found out that they were going to take away the biggest party of the decade from me, I made sure that I improved my grades so I could actually get there. And when I say improve my grades, I mean pay some smart kids to actually steal their answers for my tests. But when I left there, I had all of these stories in my head that were really cemented by people around me, my teachers, my family, saying things to me that I wasn't good enough, I wasn't smart enough, I couldn't do anything, and that I should actually just go trade time for money and work with my hands to actually make a living. See, that's what my entire environment really cemented into my brain. So I left school literally thinking I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't good enough, and I wasn't worthy of ever creating any success. I looked at anyone who was a millionaire and I thought you had to either be born into wealth, win the lottery, or be part of the lucky sperm club. And I wasn't any three of those, so I literally ruled out any type of success completely in my life. I thought I could never do that. So I left school and I watched everyone else around me go and get into university and move on with their careers, and I was completely lost. I didn't know what to do. I saved up a little bit of money and I bought a one-way ticket to Europe, and I just traveled for 2 months with two of my best friends. And I came back, asked myself one question. I said, what if I could do this for the rest of my life? What if I could just travel the world and just have fun and do that? And everyone I said that to thought I was an idiot, you couldn't do that, and they'll say, be realistic, you gotta get a job, and all of these things. So I got offered an apprenticeship as a carpenter, and that was my goal. I was like, okay, how can I get into this job and start just saving up enough money so I can go and travel 2 months every single year? And that was my goal. And in that whole environment, it really just sucked me down even deeper. I was partying hard every single weekend. I was drinking every single day. I had all these bad habits. I was getting into fights nearly every single weekend, getting arrested multiple times a month. And this just stacked as this whole whirlwind of alcohol, drugs, depression, anger, and all of this in one big cocktail. And I was 19 years old, and the pain just got so much where I thought the only way to actually escape this pain would just be to escape this world. And I tried to take my own life. And this was one of my first lessons in this moment. I had this tattoo on my bicep here that said, you're either falling or you're flying. I've always had this attitude to living life. It's like when things are going bad, you've always got the decision to go, well, am I actually falling to my death right now, or am I flying? Everything comes down to the perspective of how you view your situations. And I heard the story of the three different types of people who are stuck on a boat. You see, the first person, they sit there and they do nothing, and they just complain about the wind, and they blame everything, and they blame everyone around them. They say, oh, it's not my fault, it's the wind. If only the wind blew in my direction, then life would be easier for me. Then the second sort of person, they just hope and they pray that someone is going to come and save them. They wait for the perfect conditions. They keep doing the same thing over and over and over. They manifest it and they take no action. And this is the definition of insanity. And they just hope that the wind is going to change for them one day. And it never does. You see, the third person, what they do, they realize that no one's coming to save them. And they just get up, they take responsibility, and they change their fucking sails. They pivot and they make the decision to work with the situations that they're having in their life so that they can get the outcome that they actually want. And that was what I made a decision to do. I made the decision to actually just get in control of my sails again. And I got out of this shitty situation that I was in. And I left that situation, and I remember looking around social media for other people that I knew in my network that actually had a better quality of life. And I reached out to one of my friends and I said, dude, can you show me how you're making money online and doing this stuff? And at 21 years old, he introduced me to the network marketing industry. Now, I had no idea what this thing was all about, but all I saw was that these people online were making money and I wasn't making anything. So I wanted to hear them out. I thought it was a cult. I thought it was a scam. I thought it was all these things. But I eventually actually got into it because I saw that, hey, even if it is a cult and it is a scam, at least they're actually living the life that I wanted to live. And I dived into it. And a friend actually gave me a CD by this guy called Jim Rohn. And this CD I listened to every single day in the drive to work for 3 months straight, trying to just reprogram my mind out of all the bad habits and all the bad beliefs and bad philosophies that I had. You see, I thought that success would just come to me. I thought you had to be born into wealth. I thought you had to be a celebrity or a rock star or win the lottery. No one ever said to me that you can create whatever life you want if you can just start to think it yourself. And I remember this one quote he said, don't wish life was easier, wish you were better. And I was like, holy shit, I can't keep blaming all the crappy things around me in my life. I've got to actually start to think about, how could I hope that I'm better? How can I wish that I'm better? And I changed the focus and I started to invest in my skill set and my mindset. So in my first year of business, I thought I was going to crush it. I was full of energy and I had no idea. I actually went nowhere in my first year. I signed up about 8 people into my business. I think I actually went backwards. And then I had everyone's voice in my head that told me this is never going to work. You're going to have no friends. You're a loser. And it was all starting to feel like it was actually about to become a reality. But here's what I realized is if I just stuck at it a little bit longer, eventually it might work out. Because one thing I knew for certain, if I got out of it, then I'd have no chance of success ever. My second year, I got a little bit better and I made about $10,000 in my second year in business. This is while I was still working 60 hours a week as a carpenter. Then in my third year of business, something really clicked. I really developed myself as a person. I stepped up a lot more. I got a lot better at the craft. And to be honest with you, I really just made the decision to go all in on my business and stop playing around. In the first 4 months that year, I was actually making enough money where I could completely quit my job and become financially free. So I did what any 23-year-old would do who wanted to have fun and travel the world. I quit my job and I moved to Mexico. So there I was, 23 years old, now living on the beaches of Mexico. I had a villa right on the ocean. I was having tacos every single day. It was amazing. It was literally my dream life. And I thought this is all I wanted. I thought I was going to be retired and that's it. And that really lasted for like one day because I got really obsessed on one question. And that question was, how on earth did I just do that? I got really confused on how did I go from a complete screw up at 21 years old to now financially free, having more financial freedom, more personal freedom, more emotional freedom, more lifestyle freedom than nearly anyone I knew in my life. So this is where I started to do a real deep dive into the personal development world, into neuroscience, behavioral psychology, neurolinguistic programming, hypnotherapy, everything that I could get my hands on when it came to understanding the brain, human behavior, and what actually creates results in our life. So throughout this whole work of actually understanding myself even more, I managed to even grow my business even more. That year, I took it to a 6-figure business. At 24 years old, I took it to a multiple 6-figure business. By the time I was 25, we were turning over multiple 7 figures a year in sales. I had over 6,000 customers in 19 countries around the world, and I became the #1 income earner in my entire network marketing business under the age of 25. Now, this got the attention of quite a lot of people, and I started to get pulled left, right, and center so I could train and mentor other people that were also building their businesses. I spoke in 6 different countries around the world, crowds up to 6,000 at a time, shared the stage with multi-millionaires and even billionaires, and things just felt like they were completely taking off. I was traveling the world, literally living out of a suitcase, living in Bali, living in America, living in Mexico, on a plane nearly every 6 to 8 weeks, really just enjoying my life, training people around the world. I was loving it. Everything was completely taking off, and it felt like we were about to go to the whole next level. And I remember I just got off stage after speaking to 6,000 people, feeling so empty inside, not really sure why I was actually doing all this. And thankfully, COVID happened and it started to lock down the entire world. And one by one, every single event I had lined up, I was meant to speak at for the next 3 months started to get canceled. Canada got canceled, US got canceled, Mexico got canceled, New Zealand, Australia, Indonesia, Korea, everything started to get canceled. And I remember within a space of a week, my whole life just completely changed. I'm sitting there in my room, lost, really not sure, because I was the person that people would come to when they want to get fired up and get into action and learn how to create success. And I felt really lost in my own life again. And this is when I really realized that the whole thing, the whole reason why I was really doing this was because I loved speaking and training on stages. I love running events and I love wanting to teach people how they could also create massive success and create their dream life. So because of COVID, it actually introduced me to this concept that I now created called the True North Principle. And this is where we look at different sections in your life and you really discover what is truly meaningful to you, what is truly a high value for you in your life. And then how can you create a life that you can get paid for, that you can give back to other people, that's in alignment with the things that are truly meaningful to you. And what I discovered was my true north was learning and teaching. All I wanted to do was keep learning and then keep teaching. So I did a full deep dive again into even more deeper levels of neuroscience. I became a master trainer of neurolinguistic programming, hypnotherapy, and all these different types of modalities and human behavior techniques to help people get even better results even faster. I was no longer inspired to tell people about nutrition and online business and all this crap anymore. I was so over it. I hit all the goals that I wanted to do. And I realized I had a bigger calling to actually serve more people around the planet. And that's where I started Dream Lad podcast. I made the decision to shut down my network marketing business, completely get out of it and all affiliated to any other companies, where I could fully go all in on my own personal brand and really start creating education that I could give to the entire planet. So we started running events in the middle of COVID where we kept getting locked down, then not locked down, then locked down. And when we weren't locked down, I hit a very tight window. I'm like, let's go, let's run this event. And I ran this event called Mega Success, and it turned out to be a mega failure. I rented out this massive space to fit about 500 people in it. I promoted this thing for about 6 weeks, and I genuinely thought everybody would come to it. What happened was the day before, we only had about 80 tickets sold for this event, and I was blowing my mind to pieces. I couldn't believe it was such a failure. And I was sitting there thinking, it's my first event, 80 people, that's okay. And then what happened was that night before the event, we got hit with the biggest floods that we've ever seen in this section where I live in Australia. And we woke up the next morning, it was torrential downfall. It was so bad that not even I wanted to go to my own event that day. We lost over half the audience. We had just 25 people who actually showed up in the room. Half our speakers couldn't even get out of their house because they had been blocked in. And I quickly pivoted and we allowed a Zoom option. We put a few more people online. I remember there at this event thinking about all the money that I invested to put this thing on and how much of a failure it was, sitting there in the fetal position out the back. And I had somebody ask me and they said, well, what are you gonna do? And I just remembered to always be that third person and to actually change my sales. Because here's what I realized. I thought we'll go in this direction and the wind went, nope, you're not. And I had to just pivot and adapt again. So I made the decision and I said to the team, I said, we're doing this again. And they all were like, oh my God. I said, and we're doing it this year. And they're like, oh my God. I said, but we're calling it Dreamfest and we're going to make it so much better. And we're going to take all the lessons I learned from this event and I make sure they don't happen at the next event. And that's what we're doing next. So in our first year running Dreamfest, we had about 240 people actually come to that event. So we did make it a lot better than what we did at Mega Success, but it was still not what we wanted. In year 2, we grew it even more. We had about 350 people come in year 2. And then in year 3, I made the decision to make it 2 days, double the fun, double the people, and we grew to about 450 people. And then this year just passed, our 4th year running it. We now just completely sold the entire building out. We had over 800 people in the room. Then we also had people online as well. So besides Dreamfest that I run every single year, I've designed and created multiple other programs to help entrepreneurs and people like you create their dream life. We've got our Dream Out Loud method, which is a 3-day signature transformational event, which literally helps people rewire their identity, their belief systems, and their values to create the life that they really want, with more fulfillment, more success, and more joy. Then we run programs about money education. I have a business program. We have a speaker training program. And what I love the absolute most for the people who are really serious about growing their own online business to multiple 7 figures and beyond, we have our private inner circle mastermind where I mentor people in close proximity and they are literally my family. We travel the world together. We hang out every single week together and I teach them all the things that I know so they can actually scale and build their business. They can also create freedom for themselves. Now we're on a crazy mission to impact over 10 million lives over the next 10 years and to help one person every day reach their first $10,000 in their business in the month and to help somebody reach their first 7 figures in their business every single month. So everything we do right now is all geared around helping people get the mindset and the skill set that they need to create their dream business and then create their dream life. Life's a bit wild these days. I got an amazing relationship with my partner Simona and we've just had our newborn Koa. Time of recording this is only a few months old and I can now say that I've been in this entrepreneurship world for the last 11 years going on 12. I've founded multiple different businesses. I have a couple other businesses that are to the side that I'm still involved with. And one thing that I've known for sure is that if you want to create your dream life, the fastest way and the best way for you to actually do it is to get into your own business, start your own business and scale this properly, but do it like a real business owner. Now, if I can leave you with one piece of advice, that isn't going to be something that blows your mind. But once I really got this and I embodied this, this is truly what I believe catapulted my success. And this was at 23 years old. I made the decision to go 100% in on actually creating my dream life. Not 99%, not 98, 100% in. And what I did was I killed all other options of the exact thing that I wanted to have happening. There was no other option at all of me actually creating financial freedom, making millions of dollars, impacting the world, traveling the world, and creating my dream life. That was it. I was so stubborn to that outcome. But what I was flexible on how I was going to get there. You see, sometimes it's not always the thing that got you to where you are that's going to get you to where you need to get to. Sometimes you're going to need a new you and a new vehicle sometimes to get to that next level. That is just like a man coming home to their wife and saying, baby, I'm 99% sure that you're the woman of my dreams. Let's get married. They're probably not going to say yes. And that is the exact same thing with business and your dream life. Once you're 100% committed, then it's going to 100% commit to you. So that's what my life looks like now. And if I could go from being addicted to drugs, alcohol, depressed, and broke to then living my dream life, then I know that you can too. Not just because I've done it for myself, but because now I've trained tens and tens and tens of thousands of other people to also do the exact same thing. So here's what I want you to do from here. There are 3 steps. Step 1, go and join me in our free Skool Dream Out Loud community, where there's people who are just like you, who are also ambitious to want to create their dream life. And we add so much free resources in there to help you along the way. Number 2, leave a comment below of what your dream life looks like, because you never know who's actually watching and who could actually help you get there. And number 3, make the decision to go all in and 100% commit to actually achieving your dream life. And I'm going to be celebrating you every single step of the way.